Good evening from Swansea, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. We've a lot to talk about today. We're going to be talking about Undertaker possibly saying he wanted one more match and clarifying, well, basically what he said, because now I'm very confused following the response to WR News this morning. We're also going to be talking about Bryan Danielson saying that he's pretty much never going to return to WWE unless AEW become the leading company. And of course, Tony Khan meeting with Shane McMahon, which has now been confirmed by Tony Khan. And also, we'll be talking a little bit of AEW Dynamite. But before we get into all of that, I need to introduce the panel. And it's a really fun one today. And let's kick things off with Dryzzy. How are you, Dryzzy?
Good morning, afternoon, and evening. It's the guy you should believe in. It's your boy Dryzzy, a.k.a. Plug Funny, the wrestling plug. If you're sitting at home on your couch, don't know what to do, need some graps in your life, hit me up. I got you.
Absolutely. I'm also joining us today. We have Carter. How are you, Carter?
Ben, I'm doing good. I have some flaming hot takes for you, for the fans.
Wow.
That we're all going to be going over, as I always do. They will not zero controversy involved today, and I feel like wrestling's on fire. I was catching up on Raw last night. It was so good. So yeah, let's get into it. I love this stuff.
Absolutely, it's been a hell of a week for wrestling. Of course, NXT last night was a lot of fun as well, which Dryzzy, Shard, and Clark covered last night on NXT off the air, including that Wesley heel turn. Dryzzy, I'm as heartbroken as you are. That is...
I just stopped crying. Like, you gotta give me some time to process these things. It came out of nowhere so fast. And the crazy thing is, we were looking at it and like, oh my God, they're gonna turn on West. No, the other way around. Like, I don't even know where they go with this. The wrestling world is shocked. If you just scroll up and down Twitter, you just see people in tears.
It's awful. I could not. It was out of nowhere. It was one of the most unexpected heel turns that I have ever seen. We have Numero One Superfly in the chat. Hello to you, Numero One. I hope you're having a fantastic day. But we do have a comment here from Saul who is saying the Undertaker is about to become the Joker if he wrestles again. He had his final send-off. If this new match happens, it's going to be so bad and ruin his legacy. Well, let's just jump headfirst into that topic, shall we? Because The Undertaker sat down with Impulsive and he was asked if he wants to return to the ring. To which he replied that he wants another match and that for a long time he was working towards wanting another match. And half of the interview, well, half of this paragraph essentially, half of the conversation, whatever you want to call it, was in past tense, and then the other half was in current tense. So I watched it this morning. The Impulsive social media says it as well, as he wants another match, but a lot of fans are interpreting it as in he wanted another match, but no longer does. Undertaker, you need to clear this up and decide what tense you want to speak in, because now everybody is confused. But let's go off what the Impulsive social medias are saying, that the Undertaker does want another match. Dryzzy, I'll head to you first. Do you think that this would be a good idea for him?
I do not think it would be a good idea. We see these things in wrestling all the time. Nobody ever really retires. But at this point in The Undertaker's career, he's been around multiple decades. In 2024, me seeing The Undertaker in the ring with any of the younger wrestlers is not anything that I truly think will be a draw to anything. I understand why they do it for Crown Jewel. They're still a few years behind, so these are people that they want to see, and we have to give them that as long as we have this contract. But in 2024, I don't want to see the Undertaker on my screen unless he's doing like one of his Raw send offs or when he's passing the torch to somebody else. It's just not something that it translates over to this generation. They want some of the high flying hybrid that we have now that I know certain people on our staff don't really like, but it is a thing. It's just the way the wrestling is. We have to evolve with the time. We can't even, keep going back to the well, and I think that's what Vince always did. That kept making everybody stagnant on what WWE was doing. We have to move forward. Keep moving forward. Let's progress. We have a whole slew of new talent nowadays. Let's give them a shot.
Absolutely. No, you made a really, really good point there. I mean, he always did work a slower pace, and for his era, that worked. But
Hmm.
now, I mean, he's even slower because he's older. So
Hmm.
I agree with you. It's not going to be a good match, is it? And
Yeah, and
that
I'm
sucks.
good for an every once in a while. He comes, the gong show, he comes out and everything, but we don't have to have a full match. We don't.
Exactly. Exactly. There's no. The only, I don't know, I just can't really see any positives to it other than it will sell. Like, it'll sell because The Undertaker's coming back, but it could hurt his legacy. Nothing could ruin his legacy, I don't think, but it could hurt his legacy, and I just don't think it could do anything to help his legacy. I'll say that much. Soul is saying that he did say never at the end of his Hall of Fame speech. Oh gosh, numero one is saying Undertaker should have one more match against Goldberg. But in WWE 2K24, he should not be wrestling in real life. I agree. Let's keep him in 2K. Let's keep him on the video game. And let's just have fun playing with him on that. But Carter, I want to get your thoughts on this situation.
Well, I got to give number one Superfly a shout out because I had three ideas. These were supposed to be crazy. These were supposed to be insane. And number one Superfly just suggested my first one. I said you should wrestle Goldberg because as Bret Hart can tell you, Goldberg will retire you whether you want to or not. So why not have a redo? Have it in Saudi Arabia again, one of those morning throwaway pay-per-views. But no, I really would not want to see Undertaker take a stiff kick to the head. That's not great. Another crazy idea I have is what about WWE speed? What about 30 seconds to a minute and a half of Undertaker Ricochet? I think that would be fantastic. I do have to say though about retirement matches. So I keep kind of going back to this one SummerSlam in Nashville just because it was so awesome. But Ric Flair had that retirement match. I don't remember everyone who was in it, but his tag partner was Andrade El Idolo. And he totally, Rick, I love you, Rick, but like he's not great in the ring right now. And Andrade absolutely carried him. So, I mean, if the Lucha Brothers are coming over to WWE and you got Andrade, the Lucha Brothers, why not just throw Undertaker in there? Maybe throw in, Mysterio, just make it a six-man tag, AEW and WWE, and just let him hide, do a couple choke slams, a couple chops, and game over. But yeah, no, he shouldn't be wrestling Goldberg and the WWE Speed thing. I mean, it would get people watching Speed. So as crazy as it is, Triple H. I hope you're taking notes on this. But no, I think if you put him in anything, hide him with like 6 luchadors. That's what I would want for myself personally.
Carter, I just got back on the daily, and you're already trying to put me back off.
I got my notes right here, Andrade.
And oh, geez.
Ricochet versus Undertaker on WWE Speed.
Would you not tune in, Ben? Would you not tune in?
I would certainly tune in. I think the world would tune in. You are right. They would.
The Undertaker's interest would literally be the whole episode of Speed.
It's just a joke slam. I mean, that
it would
be
take
funny.
us 7 episodes to get him all the way down.
Like, Jesus.
WWE Speed. No, I mean, Superfly, so you are a creative gentleman, but you did not think of Speed. So expand that mind, Mr. Superfly.
Well, there we are. There's some there's some advice from Carter about how we deal with this Undertaker situation. Also in the same interview, Undertaker praised Logan Paul and his United States Championship reign. So I mean, maybe Undertaker's on Speed because I don't understand how on earth in any way, shape, or form you can actually think that title reign was good. Who knows? But oh my gosh, I'm completely thrown off. I never thought that WWE Speed Undertaker on WWE Speed would ever be a serious conversation on the daily broadcast. But let's just move straight on to another serious conversation. Bryan Danielson was interviewed by our one of my good friends, Max, on WWE Gorilla Position this week, and he was asked if he'd ever consider returning to WWE, and he said that unless WWE became the competitor brand, AEW became the main brand, then well, he's not really too interested in it. He likes working for the competitor brand, and WWE would also have to change their creative process drastically for him to consider going back. He basically all but completely ruled it out, and even then he was talking backstage, not even in the ring. So it really does look like Danielson is not returning to a WWE ring. Dryzzy, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think this is a mistake from Danielson?
I don't think it's a mistake. If you really look back historically with Daniel Bryan, aesthetically, Bryan Danielson, it's if you look at him, it just doesn't look like he ever really fit in WWE. Yes, he reached the mountain top. He reached the highest of highs. He's captured just about every title that you could think that he could capture in WWE. The only thing he didn't do was win Rumbles. He didn't win King of the Ring. He didn't win. He won Money in the Bank. He's got a Hall of Fame WWE career, but ultimately he just does not fit that mode. He honest to God, if AEW would have came around earlier, or if he had a chance to go to TNA, I think he would have ended up in those spots in TNA. Just he would always run from the WWE. At the time that he came up, there wasn't really anybody else around. Like WWE was it. So he had no choice. But now it just feels like he will never. I feel like he may come back for a farewell tour just because he's more concerned with being the best wrestler, and he'll put on a couple of great wrestling matches. But he's never been one to the be the juggernaut on top of the big machine wrestling. He's not that type of person. He wants to build up. He wants to build wrestling up, and that's why he's staying in AEW. That's why I definitely believe before he's really truly done, he's gonna make a run to TNA. He's gonna go to MLW. He'll make a few stops in the Indies. He's definitely gonna get over to Japan and get a G1 in. That's definitely gonna happen. But I think our days of seeing Daniel Bryan in the with the machine pushed behind him in the big company of WWE is over. I don't expect to see it, nor do I think I really want to see it anymore. He's done everything. There's nothing more left to do in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, you are absolutely right. He truly has done everything in WWE. Something quite interesting that you said that I want to touch upon there is you saying about all this other stuff he has left to do in his career. So are you saying that he's going to win the AEW championship and keep his career going at All In?
That is where my money is currently. I understand he wants to go be a dad, but you also got to get your dreams done too. And what is a better way of showing your kids how to make their dreams come true than making your own dreams come true? I think he's gonna get the AEW title at All In. Now I do think he's gonna lose it right away, and then he's gonna do a couple of little. He's gonna work a part time schedule until next year's G1, and that is my thing. I have to see Bryan Danielson in a G1. We got to get that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I'd absolutely love it. I mean, he's already said that he was meant to be in this year's G1, but of course, hey, well, it hasn't happened. It's currently ongoing. But basically, he said that he didn't think his body could do it. But again, the thing with Bryan Danielson, is you just never know with him when he's working you and when he's not. He could just be lying through his teeth now and know that he's already doing it next year,
And
and that's why he's saying it.
that's one of the great things. That's one of the great things he picked up from WWE. He learned
That's
how
true.
to sell you on everything. You don't know what he's doing. He said he's gonna go home and be with his kid. He might lose it all in, automatically disappear from AEW TV, and end up in New Japan the very next month. He could. He's a liar. He's a liar. He's been lying since he left Ring of Honor. He's a liar.
I mean, that's true. Maybe we will see him in WWE. Maybe all this thing, he's just trying to throw everybody off and he's going to show up and be WWE champion by WrestleMania. Who knows? You never know with him.
He might even have a Joe Hendry deal. Say his name and he will appear. I believe in Bryan Danielson.
Do, 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 do.
It's gonna be a yes.
Yeah. Oh, now I want to see a Joe Hendry, Bryan Danielson feud. But Soul is saying, I really don't get why people are angry at Bryan. We should be happy that he is somewhere where he feels satisfied with what he does for the fans. Great point. I agree. Meanwhile, Shard's got a world take. Danielson to NWA. It would make sense. They need help. They
need so much help right now. Bryan Danielson may be able to help them.
I think he certainly could. They've been making a lot of signings, though. A lot of exclusive deals. It's like 2 a week they're making. It's absolutely crazy. And it's fantastic for the wrestling business, purely because people are getting full-time contracts, and that's always good. But I agree. I've not heard that much about NWA other than them making signings as of late. But something else which Danielson did say in this interview was that not only would he not really consider going back to WWE, he has no interest in being added to the WWE Hall of Fame. And the fact that he doesn't want to return to WWE as like an on-screen thing or anything like that backstage, fair enough. But not returning for a Hall of Fame induction, I don't get. Because this guy's done so much throughout his career. He deserves his flowers. I mean, he had arguably one of the biggest moments in WWE history when he won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 30. I mean, even just for his fans, I think he should give them the moment of him returning, just for a Hall of Fame induction at the very least. I mean, Dryzzy, how do you feel about him ruling out a Hall of Fame induction even?
I don't believe him. If anybody says they want to honor you for the contributions you give, and granted, if he sees it or not, he has made WWE better. He may not see it, but he's the reason why guys like Adam Cole, like all those guys that went into NXT, he's the reason they got double eyes. Look like, well, we didn't see this with Bryan Danielson, the fans level. Let's take a look at these guys. Let's take a look at this Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, the guys in the rest of the guys in the Undisputed Era, Ricochet, just all those guys that are cut from that Ring of Honor cloth. He and the other indies, he's the reason they're getting that double look. And even while they're still signing indie guys now, Javon Evans in NXT is kind of cut from that same cloth. He's the reason they're getting that double look and getting a chance to actually show what they can do. And you've seen on NXT, Javon Evans has jumped literally off the screen and into everybody's hearts. And that is all off the back of Bryan Danielson.
Fantastic point indeed, and I completely agree. Shard is saying that Danielson's a coward for saying that he'd never go in the Hall of Fame. But I agree with you, Dryzzy. I don't think he's telling the truth. I reckon if they call him up in a few years' time, he's going to be like, sure. Even an on-screen thing, if he's not employed by anybody, he's got the wrestling bug, right? And that's
crowd,
where
And the crowd better yell fickle at him. They better yell fickle at him.
That's the thing. I can almost believe them. Well, I can almost believe him retiring for the sake of his family, but I cannot believe him stepping away from the wrestling business. I really cannot, because he just loves it too much. Soul saying that it's a shame Hall of Fame. It means nothing because you can't visit it.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong. It is like a plaque in an elevator. It's like a plaque in an elevator.
Let's build one then, eh? Let's build a physical Hall of Fame. Let's do it. Chad saying AEW would never give Daniel Bryan a Hall of Fame induction. Leave Bryan. Oh gosh, the tribalism on our own team. But now let's move on, and let's move on to talk about not a topic, but instead just something that I want to talk about. Because unlike Cody Rhodes, who lies to you, he says to you, hey, I want to talk to you about blah, blah, blah. Bryan Danielson lies when he said he doesn't want to go to the Hall of Fame. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be completely honest with you when I tell you that you guys need to get next level. Next Level has taken all our social media links, all our social media platforms, and put them in one place. And that one place is nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, linked all in one place. Plus, you click that link, they also have an app. If you get that app, you download the app. There's also a wrestling section on the app, right, for just wrestling content creators. You can just view wrestling content. It's fantastic. It's brilliant. You don't get the toxicity that you get on Instagram and TikTok. Over on Next Level, everything's lovely. It's all sunshine and rainbows, and also it's completely free. If you guys don't like it, you can literally delete it, right? You got nothing to lose. nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to see all our content across all platforms, linked all in one place. But talking about All In, could we see a Mr. Shane McMahon show up at All In? Because that is what some fans are speculating. Now, over the last few weeks and months or whatever it's been, those dirty dirt sheet reporters who forget to clean their bed sheets and therefore they have bed bugs have been rumbling and whispering that perhaps Shane McMahon is going to AEW. Well, Tony Khan had an interview this week and he said, hey, I have met with Shane McMahon and we just talked wrestling. I think he's got a great mind for wrestling. It was a really great conversation. It was a really nice visit. A really nice visit, I think was the quote he used. So, what is happening here? Could we see Shane McMahon in AEW? That is the question. Well, unfortunately, I was going to ask Carter this question, but unfortunately he has been abducted. He has gone missing. But somebody who has taken his place is his identical twin with complete polar opposite views, Carty Carnett. Carty, do you think we could see Shane McMahon in AEW?
I had to remove my brother from the situation because that gentleman is such a big fan of Mr. Shane O'Mac because all he does is put his body on the line. Now, Tony, one thing I can tell you is if you bring on Mr. Shane O'Mac into your roster, your insurance bill will fly through this screen. It will be so high. You like your Mr. Darby. Sorry if I hit the desk, but you like your Mr. Darby Allin? Well, let me tell you, here's Darby Allin with the son of your greatest enemy. He will jump off of anything. He will fly through anything, and he doesn't care. He has the bank account to pay for all these medical bills. So, yes, it's a terrible idea, and that is exactly why Mr. Tony Khan will probably follow through with it. It will make the wrestling more dangerous. It will give the young guys more terrible ideas, and we will have ACLs, MCLs, ankles, shoulders, elbows, you name it. They'll be ripping off left and right. And you know what, Tony? Go for it. I don't even care anymore, Tony. Put it on TV. Lose all your money to this outlaw mud show garbage wrestling that you call wrestling. That's my take on it.
Wow. Tell us how you really feel, Carty. But Shard is saying that Shane to AEW would be the best thing for business. The company could certainly benefit from someone with that knowledge, and Shane versus Darby would be a dream match at Wembley. I mean, surely that gets you excited, Carty.
It will get the doctors excited for the local medical facility who will be treating these two gentlemen with all the torn ligaments that will result from jumping off of rafters and screens and other. And trust, if Shane could climb it, he will jump off of it. And my God.
Oh, I mean, Shard saying, here comes the money is better than every AEW theme. But he doesn't own that, does he? WWE surely own that.
Yeah, that's WWE.
Soul saying Shane as part of the Elite would be perfection. If they're going to do it, that's how they should do it. And Tony shouldn't have even acknowledged it in the interview. He should have done a Brian Danielson, and lied. He should have just said, no, never spoken to the guy. Don't even know who he is. Shane McMahon? Who? I don't know a Shane. But yeah, then for the Elite to bring him in and that him and Tony Khan to have a rivalry, it'd be stupid. But if you're gonna do it, I guess that's the way. Numero 1 says, I want Shane to appear All In and sign a contract to reveal that he now owns full control of AEW.
This guy's a genius. The Superfly gentleman.
That would just be... I mean, that is some Vince Russo-like stuff, but it'd be so funny for the moment. And then you're like, why? But I thought Here's my issue with it, though, right? And I will say this real quick. Tony Khan has previously called the entire McMahon family evil. And now the second that one of them potentially wants to join, he's flipped. Like, this is my issue. It's like, why are you saying this stuff, TK? I don't get it at all. I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, Dryzzy, how would you feel about Shane McMahon in AEW?
I definitely do not see. I don't want to see. I don't want to see Shane McMahon on AEW programming. I am a WCW kid. I went down with the ship. So I was watching that simulcast and watching Shane McMahon show up on Nitro. If I see Shane McMahon show up on any Turner broadcast, I'm just gonna automatically believe that something bad is about to happen. I don't need that in my life. I have PTSD because of it. I don't need it anymore. Please, no.
That would just be, exactly. That's a good point now. AEW literally try to fill the void, and in a lot of ways I don't want to say they've copied WCW, but they've taken inspiration from certain things from WCW, and they filled that void which was missing for 2 decades in professional wrestling to bring in the guy who basically ended WCW. I mean, I don't know if it's the move.
Please don't do it. Please. They have done a great job of trying to recreate things and make better things that WCW did, but this ain't one of them that we want to try. Try like a Judy Bagwell on a forklift match or something, but don't do this. Please don't do. I'm begging you, don't do this.
If they did a forklift match, I bet Carty Carnett you'd be even more furious with this product, wouldn't you?
So dangerous. It just keeps getting this business. They keep taking stuff that belongs in the backyards is it Delaware or I don't even remember if it's Delaware or Denmark. It should be somewhere far away from civilized society. And that's where this type of stuff should be. And Mr. Tony Khan is putting it on TNT television for the whole nation to see.
He says he books for the sickos.
Yeah.
We should be heading in this direction. We are going, and Mr. Shane O'Mac will send us. No, I mean, he's a smart guy. He's got an eye for the business. He wanted to buy the UFC, but he's dangerous.
I mean, I'm beginning to get a little bit of a dry throat today. I don't know if it's because I've not taken my hay fever medicine or if it's because it's a Wednesday. And of course, as you said, Dryzzy, on Wednesday night, we're all sickos when we watch all Elite Wrestling. But, I mean, on the topic of AEW, well, we might as well talk about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. And as it does every week, my tab, which has all the AEW Dynamite preview stuff on, has closed. It happens every single Wednesday. I set it up before the show. By the time we get to that segment, it closes. But I've got it back up now. So tonight we have 4 things announced. We have MJF versus Carl Fletcher for the AEW American Championship. Sorry, it's not for that. It's an eliminator match. It's my least favorite type of match, right? So if Carl Fletcher beats the champ, he's not the champ, but he will have another shot at the champ. You might as well call it a 2 out of 3 falls match, but that is happening. I think that's going to be a very fun match. We also have Jeff Jarrett versus Bryan Danielson in an anything goes match with special guest referee Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I'm not the biggest Jeff Jarrett guy, I always say that, but I think this one could be a lot of fun. I enjoyed Jarrett's match against Hangman. What was that, like a month or 2 ago now? And I think this could be a fun one. We also have Brian Keith versus Katsuyori Shibata. Shibata, please don't take any bad bumps. Please, please, please. Let's just play it perfectly safe this match. Maybe even just have them grappling. I'd be thrilled by that. Let's just protect Shibata, right? Hashtag protect Shibata. And then we also have Mariah May versus Viva Van on Mariah May's tour to becoming the AEW Women's Champion. It's going to happen. Wembley Stadium. She's bringing it home. Just like Arsenal are going to bring home the Premier League trophy this season. But Carty Carnett, I want to go to you first. How are you feeling about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite? What are you looking forward to the most? What is your thoughts on the card?
All right. Don't mind me as I look over. I got the card over here. But I think this is I actually really like this card. I think it's got rock solid wrestling from start to finish. I want to give a little shout out to Viva Van. She trains at the New Japan Dojo in LA, up the freeway a little bit, and she's a great women's wrestler. I think she'll have a really good match with Mariah May, but I'm going by the 2K ratings. Mariah's probably going to win that one. Shibata, that's probably the one I'm most excited for. I am hoping for a heavy grappling exchange, but knowing it was booked by Tony Khan, someone might get dropped on their head. So no, that's just a joke. But no, and I like Jeff Jarrett too. I mean, Uncle Dave Sheldon got me turned around. I like him. I don't know what it is. I like seeing him in the locker room. I like seeing guitars break. I think that's fun. And having a match with Bryan Danielson, I think that is a little part of his retirement tour. Have a fun match with Jeff Jarrett. That'll be good. And the headliner is going to be great. I mean, Kyle Fletcher looks like $1,000,000. You could book him in Japan and you could book him wherever you want. He looks great. Talks great. He's like Ospreay plus a couple LBs. He's gonna have a good match with MJF. You are right though, Ben. I do not know. I just this clicked in my head. I don't know why they don't say it. Best 2 out of 3 falls. Like let's just. I know we want to like make wrestling new and we don't want to always go back to the Harley race days and stuff. But when something already exists, let's just best 2 out of 3 falls, man. Like let's just come on. Let's be real. But I think it's a solid card. Lots of wrestling. So I can't really complain.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I realized I didn't actually ask you earlier, Carty. Do you reckon that this is Danielson's farewell tour? Do you reckon he is retiring at All In?
At All In? No, I think he's gonna win at All In. I think there's a couple. I think he's done a lot of what he wanted to do. I believe he wrestled in CMLL in Arena Mexico, which that's a big one for a lot of wrestlers. I think he's like 80% there. I don't think he's retiring. I'm not calling it. I think he's gonna win the championship. He's gonna have like 6 months. So I don't even know what box he needs to check. Maybe he needs to do an Outlaw Mud show in Delaware. I don't know. Probably not though, because he's a Ring of Honor guy. But no, I think he retains, and I think his career continues on for 6-8 months, maybe a G1 in there.
Wow, so you guys are really going in all in, pun intended, on this idea of Danielson in the G1. I would love it. Here's my thing about it. I just don't think it's going to happen, so I don't want to get my hopes up because I want it so badly. And I feel like the fact they introduced the Continental Classic this year was kind of for Danielson to give him that run. Shard thinks Danielson versus Double J is going to be a match of the year. Yeah, sure it will. But maybe on Uncle Dave Sheldon's scale. But, Dryzzy, I want to get your thoughts on this card. What are you most excited for?
I got to. I am a huge Viva Van fan. Recently went down the wormhole of her after Mania weekend with the whole live tweeting. Everything that she was on, she was spectacular on, and I went down that wormhole, and I love her now. I go here now. I know it's the Mariah May match. The writing's on the walls. You don't see her losing any steam with the momentum that she has right now. But Viva Van is definitely going to give her a run for her money. And as I pointed out earlier, I am a WCW kid, so that means I am a Jeff Jarrett fan. That means that's JEFFJARRET. Ha ha, ain't he great? Slap nuts. I love that man. Throws the best punch in the business. One of the most under everything. Under everything. He does not get the love that he deserves. He single-handedly saved wrestling by giving us TNA. I said it, come get me. But yeah, I'm definitely excited for those two matches. Danielson and Jarrett. I feel like it's just a something on wrestlers card to have some type of match with Jeff Jarrett because he has a lot of knowledge that he can still pass on, and I just think this is just something to mark off Bryan Danielson's bucket list.
Yeah. No, I mean, absolutely. I do see that. I really do. Shard's agreeing with you. He's saying, yeah, talk. But I don't know. Jeff Jarrett, it does feel like people either love him or hate him. There's no in between. He's like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. Also on tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, Camille is saying that the Monet Corporation will be there, and AEW have retweeted it. So seemingly the travel issues haven't affected them. And also the Acclaimed have tweeted that they've managed to make it to the building and have managed to get there despite the travel issues as well. I don't know. I've had enough of the Acclaimed. I happily.
The Acclaim's not bad. I feel like
don't know.
We had a point where they were the hottest thing going, and they felt that, and you really don't know until you take the belts off of them that this was the top tag team. We feel maybe we can make them, maybe they can be bigger without the belts. You don't know until you take the belts off of them, and in that same amount of time, the way the ecosystem of AEW runs, that time on top goes really quickly, and then you have like a whole nother group ready to go. So I don't think the Acclaim have taken too big of a fall. They did really good in Blood and Guts, and I think that they're doing something right because they're still being talked about. So I don't think they're doing anything wrong. They're just it's just a roller coaster at the moment, and they're not taking a big dip. It's just a little minor bump. That's all.
I mean, fair enough. I'm kind of just sick of their gimmick, if I'm being completely honest. I feel like they need, I don't necessarily say gimmick change, but they need to change something up. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I'd be very up for an Anthony Bowen singles run. Like, I'd actually be more in on that than them as a tag team right this minute. And Shard agrees. Shard's never been a fan of Max Caster, and that's continuing. I like him, but they've done the same thing for so long now that I think it's gotten a little old. They just need to change something, and I don't know what that something is. Maybe it's the gimmick. Maybe it's a heel turn.
I got a solution for you. Next Continental Classic, let's add the Acclaim in there.
Oh, okay.
That's a great storyline to have for it, and I get also breathes a little bit of fresh air into the Acclaim.
Yeah. No, you are right. Seeing them in singles competition would be a lot of fun. And yeah, especially if you can find a way. I mean, if they were like in the same group and you have to have them face off against each other in one of the matches, that would be a lot of fun indeed. You got a story there, and it would be a lot of fun. I love that shout, Dryzzy. I truly, truly do. Maybe that is what they need. Mariah May, she says that she's also in the building despite these travel issues. I don't know why there are travel issues, but it's a widespread thing.
There's currently a hurricane going on right around that area.
Wow!
Hurricane Debbie.
Oh, well, I hope everyone's okay, and that is hurricanes aren't a thing here in the UK, so I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know too much about them, but that is not great. But Mariah May's there, and she says she's going to murder a girl on live television, and unfortunately that girl is your favorite, Dryzzy, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But it's a bit of a surprising one today because of this hurricane. They've just not really announced much for the card, whereas usually when we're here every Wednesday, we're like, there's just too much to talk about. Today it's like, well, we actually covered it all. It's just there's not much, but I'm sure it will be a good show tonight. And Kyle O'Reilly, Carl Fletcher versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman will be a lot of fun as well, no doubt about it. Shard saying Jeff Jarrett is better than Jericho.
Agreed.
Carter?
In fact,
maybe.
I'll go as far as Chris Jericho got the playbook from Jeff Jarrett.
Okay. I can actually see parts of that. With certain heel-like things, I can see it. But maybe I underappreciate Jeff Jarrett. Maybe I need to go down a Jeff Jarrett wormhole. Maybe that's my homework.
Go watch some Jeff Jarrett and then go watch some Chris Jericho. You're going to see some parallels there.
I also might fall asleep, but
from the Intercontinental to the Intercontinental title runs, to the haircut, to the world title runs. The only reason Jarrett didn't get a WWE title run is because they fired him for all his jumping around in the early parts.
I mean, it is one of those things too, where, I mean, it's two different genres, but they both do music as well. So hey,
Yeah.
maybe
See?
Chris Jericho does have a poster of Jeff Jarrett on his wall. Maybe that's what he looks at when he goes to sleep at night.
Chris Jericho sings. He sings at home with my baby tonight in the shower. I promise you.
Oh my gosh, he's the one who got him signed to AEW. That's what it is. I'm absolutely sure of it now. But guys, on that note, I forgot to change the graphic to the AEW Dynamite topic earlier. But on that note, guys, that does bring us to the end of the show. Thank you, Dryzzy. Thank you, Carter and Carty Carnett, for joining me here today. It's been a fun one. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, to talk a little bit of AEW Dynamite. We will see you then. Pa 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 pa.